Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to be continuing with our NodeJs and Flutter series. So in this video we are going to be creating the product model. We are going to be creating a CRUD application where you will learn how to create, update, read and delete items from NodeJs database, right? So we are going to be creating a product model, right? A product model. In this folder we are going to be create a MongoDB schema, right? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to import Mongoose from Mongoose. So if you have not yet watched my previous video, make sure you watched my previous video on Node.js authentication, right? That's when I taught how to import all these libraries, right? And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a product schema. And then inside our schema, the first thing that we need is our product title, right? Product title. So the product title, the type is going to be of type string. And then that title is required. So we need to set required to true. And then we also need an image because we are going to need a product image, right? It's going to be of type string, and then it's also going to be required, right? And then we also need a product description because we need to describe what product are we selling. It's also going to be of type string. The description also needs to be required, right? The other thing that we need is we need the product price, right? So the product type is the type of the price is going to be the number. Required is also true. And we also need the old price, right? The type is also number. This one is not going to be required because our product might not have an old price, right? It's available. So we'll use this to check if a product is available, right? If we have the product in stock. So this is going to be a boolean, a type boolean. Required is also true. Okay, so now that we are done with our Mongo schema, we need to take care of a few items here, right? So we need to create a function called to JSON. And then we need to do a few transformations, right? So we're going to create a function. We are going to create a function that's going to take in our document as a parameter and then a return type, right? So what we want to transform is we want to return the product ID, right? Which is equal to return dot underscore ID dot toString, right? And then after that, what we need to do is we just need to delete the return type underscore ID, and we also need to delete the return type underscore V. Okay, so here we are just performing some transformation to our data that we are going to get from our MongoDB document, right? So in our MongoDB document, our product ID is going to be underscore ID, right? So we are going to set a return type, this return type to product ID, which is equal to return type of underscore ID dot toString. Once we set this to product ID, because in our application we want to return the product ID, something like this. So let me just pull out Postman. You can see we want it to return this product ID here, right here, right? So, and then we can also get rid of this double underscore V, right? If I put double underscore V, and then if I go back to, let me just npm start, right? Let me just start the server, right? Our server is now running on port 4000. So if I go back to our, okay, products, right? So let me just, okay. So let me just open the project. I have the project here. So let me just open it, npm start, like this, right? It's because I'm running the project that we are currently working on. So in our current project, this one, NodeJs auth, I'm just going to stop the server and then I'm going to the other project, right? This one. This one, return NodeJs server, this one, right? So let's try to rerun the server, right? And then if we go to our product ID, as I was saying, if I delete underscore ID like this, right? And then I go back to our Postman, right? Like this, you see we are no longer getting that underscore V, right? But we are getting the product ID as product ID. If we don't do the transformation, we are going to be getting underscore ID, right? Of which we don't want to do that. We want to rename it to product ID, right? So let's go back to our project and let's continue, right? Since we have done the transformation, right? Since we have done the transformation, we are now done with the product schema, right? So we need to export it. So now that we have exported this product schema, it will now be available to be exported in our different files, right? So the next thing that I want us to do is I need to create a middleware, right, for uploading the image to our MongoDB, right? So to create the middleware, simply go into our middleware folder that we created, right? Inside our middleware folder, let's create a file called product upload. So it's going to be product upload.js. So this file is going to be taking care of the product upload, right? So we need a library called Malta to do that. Okay. Right, so now that we have installed Malta, I'm just going to import Malta. So we are going to require Malta, the package. The other thing that we need is the path, which is equal to, we are just going to require the path, right? Okay. Now, what we need is to create a variable storage, which is going to access the disk storage, right? That is the disk storage in our device, right? So in this disk storage, we have the destination and also we have the file name. So for the destination, we are going to have a function that's going to take in a request, a response, and a callback function, right? So what this callback function is going to just return, the first parameter is going to return is now, and then it's going to also return to us, it's going to access to us this upload folder, right? Uploads and then products. So this is the file where our products will be uploaded, right? So just make sure that inside our root project, right, just create a folder called uploads, and then inside that folder create another folder called products, right? So as you can see now, it's going to access the uploads folder and then the products folder, right? That's the destination of our image that we are going to upload from our storage, right? And then we need to take care of the file name. So okay, we are going to have another function. That function is going to take in a request, a file. Okay, so here I made a mistake. It's not supposed to be response, it's supposed to be file, right? It's going to take in a request, a file, and a callback, right? The same for our file name, and then what, a callback function, right? So this callback function is going to return null, and then it's going to set the destination of our folder. We're going to set it as, we need to set it as the date at which the file is uploaded, and then underscore, and then file.origin, file.original name. So the original name is the name by which the user uploads is the name by which the user uploads the file from the storage, right? If the file from the storage is written, let's say Apple MacBook, we are just going to take that Apple MacBook, right? Okay, so now that we are done with the storage part, now we need to filter the data that's going to be uploaded by the user, which is very important. So we need to create a variable filter. It's going to take in a request, and then a file, and then a callback function. All right. So now what we need is we need acceptable extensions that we are going to accept. So acceptable ext extensions. We need to just say only .jpg, .png, and .jpeg accepted. So these are the extensions that we are going to accept, right? Sorry, this is supposed to be, there's no need for us to write only and accept it. Just put in the formats that we need, right? These are the formats that we need. So we need the JPG, the PNG, and then JPEG, right? Okay. So the next thing is we are going to check if this extension does not include the extensions that we have defined above. In the file.original name, right? What we are just going to do is we are going to just return a callback function. And then the callback function is going to be no error, only jpg.png, and then .jpeg accepted. Right. So these are the if this condition is not met, acceptable extension. If this condition does not include any of these extensions, right, we are going to just show the user that only JPG, PNG, and JPEG accepted, right? And then if otherwise, what we are just going to do is we need to take care of the file size. Because if we don't, a user might upload a very large file, which can also affect our storage, right? So we're going to say request.headers. And then for the request.headers, what we need is the content length. So, and then we will make sure that if the file size is greater than 10 megabytes, which is 104.8576, right? What we are just going to do is we are just going to return a callback function, and that callback, we're just going to display an error, which is going to be file is too big. You can just say file too big or image is too big, right? And then otherwise, what we are just going to do is we are just going to return a callback function with null and then true. Okay, right. And then what we need to just do is after this, we just say let upload. We create a variable for uploading our file. Upload is equals to Malta. And then for the Malta, for the storage, we are just going to set it to our storage variable that we created above. This storage variable, right? That's the storage. We are going to set it to the storage variable that we created above. And then for the file filter, we are going to set it to the file filter, which will filter our file size to make sure that it's not more than 10 MBs, right? Which is what file filter. And then file size, make sure that the file size is 104.8576, like this, right? So now that we have taken care of this middleware for uploading images to our server, we just need to export it so that we can access it in our controller. Module.export is equals to upload.single, because we are going to upload a single image, and then we are just going to set it to image, right? Right, so that is for our middleware. So in our middleware, what are we doing? So first of all, we are importing Malta. Malta allows us to upload files to our server, NodeJs server, right? And then we need the path variable. The path is going to access like the path of the image in our disk storage. And then the first thing that we create a variable storage, which is going to access the disk storage, and then the destination of our uploaded image is going to be uploads, right? It's going to be uploads here. It's going to be uploads and then products. And then the file name that we are going to store in our products is going to be this file name, which starts with the date and then underscore and then the file original name, right? And then in the next, we create a constant variable, file filter. This variable is going to filter the image format and also the image size, right? We create this constant acceptable extensions, which is the JPG, PNG, and then the JPEG, right? If this format does not include any of these formats, we are going to tell the user that only .jpg, png, and jpeg accepted, right? The next thing is the file size, right? We are going to get the file size. We get the file size from the request.headers.content length, that is the length of the uploaded image, right? If this file size is more than 10 megabytes, we are just going to show the user that the file is too big. Otherwise, we are going to just return this callback function, right? And then we create this variable upload mounter, which takes in the storage, our storage, which is going to be this variable here, the filter, the file filter, which is going to be this variable, and then the size, which is going to be 10 megabytes, and then we export this file, right? So the next thing that we are going to do is we need to move on to our controller, right? We need to move on to our product controller, and then we need to take care of the product controller. So inside our controllers, just create a file called product controller, right? Product controller.js, right? So basically, the controller is just responsible for handling out requests and responses, and also communicating with our MongoDB schema, right? So what we need to do, the first thing that we need to do is we need to import the product. This product is going to come from our MongoDB schema. So it's going to be from models, and then product model, right? Like this. And then we have the upload, right? So the upload is going to come from the middleware, right? And then it's product.upload, right? And then what we need to do is we need to export the functions that we are going to create, right? So it's going to be module.export. Okay, right. So the first function that we are going to create is the create product function. This function is going to be an async function, and then it's going to take in a request and a response. And then what we need is we need our middleware here. This middleware that we created in the middleware, the product upload middleware here, right? So we need this middleware. This middleware is going to take in a request, a response, and then a function, which is going to take in an error as a parameter, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to check if there is an error. So if there is an error, then we are just going to show the user a status code of 500, and then we are just going to pass that error into JSON, right? And then the status, we're going to set the status to false, and then the message that we want to show the user is going to be the error. Which is going to be error.message right here. So if there is no error, that is the else condition, right? If there is no error, what we need to do is we need to get the title, the description, title, description, the price, and then is available from the requested body. Okay, right. And then we also need a path. So we get the path from the request.file, right? That is the file that the user will upload. And then we will make sure that the request.file is not equal to undefined, right? It's not equal to undefined. And then if it's not equal to undefined, then we just set the request.file path, and then the path request.file.path, and then we are just going to replace else we are if the request.file is empty, we are just going to set it to empty, right? So what are we doing here on the request.file? Here we are getting the path of the image from the request.file. If it's not equal to undefined, we are just going to, if it's not equal to undefined, right, what we are going to do is we are going to replace the image path. If we have / backslashes and this G character, we're going to replace them with this /, right? If the file is empty, we are just going to leave it like that as empty, right? Okay, so now what we need to do now is we need to check, we need to make sure that all these items are entered by the user, because if you remember from our product models, the title, image, description, price, and then is available, they're all set to true. So we need to check, right, if those items exist. So if there is no title, or if there is no title, or if there is no path, or if there is no description, or if there is no description, and then if there is no price, if the user doesn't enter the price, and also if there is no is available, right? If it's like this, then what we simply need to do is we are just going to show the user a status code of 500, of a status code of 400, right? And then we are just going to return a JSON with the status to false, and then the message is going to be you have a missing field. Right. And then if all these fields exist, right, what we simply need to do is we need to create a new product, right? We are going to create a new product. So we are just going to create a new product, which is called to new product. And then we are going to set the title. The title of the product is going to come from request.body.title. And then the description is going to come from request.body.title. Same with the price. So let me just copy this. This is supposed to be description. This is supposed to be description. This is supposed to be price. And then this is supposed to be price. And then for the odd price also. Okay, odd price. And then we also need to do it for is available. Which are going to set it to is available. And then we also, for the path, for the image, right? The image, we are just going to set it to the path, right? So now that we are done with this new product, what we need to do is, after this, we need to make sure that we create a try catch block, right? A try catch block. So what we are going to do is we are just going to say new product dot save. So we are going to just save it to MongoDB, right? And then the next thing that we do is we are just going to return a status code of 201 to show that the product has been created, right? And then JSON format, and then status true, and then we make sure that the message is going to be product created successfully. Product created successfully, right? Like this. And then after this, what we need to do is we need to catch the error. So catch E. And then it's going to be response.status. We are just going to return a status code of 500. And then we are going to display JSON, right? Status is equals to false. And then the message is going to be error.message. Error.message, right? So we are done with this function for creating our new product, right? Which we are going to create our new product. And then the next thing that we are going to do is we need to get products, right? We need to get products. So I'm going to create a function called get all products. Get all products. It's an asynchronous function. It's going to take in a request, a response, right? So what this function is going to do is we are going to create a try catch block, right? So we are going to set the products to await product.find, right, which is going to find all the products. After that, we are going to create a response.status 200, and then we are going to display a JSON with the products. That's going to display all the products that are in our MongoDB, right? The next thing that we need to do is we need to catch an error if there's an error, right? So to do that, we are going to just return a response.status 500, and then JSON. Our status is false, and then our message is error.message. Error.message, right? And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to get a product by ID. So to get a product by ID, what we simply need to do is we copy our get all products function, right? Let's copy our get all products function like this, and then let me just paste it there. And then what do we need? So I'm just going to say get product by ID, right? Get product by ID. By ID, right? To get a product by ID, what we need the ID. But this ID is not going to come from a body. It's going to come from the request.params, from the parameter, right? Request.params.id, like this, right? So instead of using find, we are going to say find by ID, and then we just pass in the ID of the product, right? Everything else is set, right? And then now for updating our products, right? Let's say we want to update a particular product. What we need to do is we simply need to copy also the get product by ID function. This get product by ID function. So let me just copy this get product by ID function, and then let me just paste it below, right? So let's change it to update product. Update product, right? Like this. Update product, and then we have the ID, right? Which we are going to get also from the params, right? And then we are going to change this to find product by ID and update, right? No, not by delete, and update, right? And update, right? So we are going to update the product. The next thing that we need, the next function that we need is to delete the product. So to delete the product also, we just simply also paste this get product by ID, and then we'll just rename it to delete product, like this, right? We'll also get the ID from the request.params, right? And then find by ID, and here we need to change it to find by ID and delete, which is just going to delete our item. And then here the message that we are going to, the JSON message that we are just going to display is a status which is false, and then the message is going to be product deleted successfully. Product deleted successfully, just like this. If we go back to our update product, we also need to change this to and then for the status we need to change the status to true, right? If it's 200, then we will just display a status true, and then the message is going to be product updated product updated successfully, like this, right? So now we have created these functions inside our product controller, right? We have this function that is going to create our product and save it to our MongoDB schema, right? And then we have this function that's going to get products by ID, and then we have another one that's going to get all the products, right? So the next thing that we need to do is we need to go into our route, right? We need to go into our route and take care of the routes. So our routes, what the route does is the route exposes our API to the outside world, right? That means if we have a front end, the route is the one that exposes our API to the front end, right? So it's going to be product route.js. So what we need to do, the first thing that we need to do is we are going to import router from Express. .router, right, like this. The next thing that we need is we need to set the router which is going to require Express. And then we have the upload function. So the upload, we are going to get it from our middleware, right? So we don't need the upload, right? It's a mistake. What we need is the product controller. Product controller, which is require from the controllers, and then product controller, right? The next thing that we need to do is we need the router for post. So this router, we're going to use it to create our products, right? And then we'll just get the product controller dot create product, right? Like this. So let's just copy this, and then let's just paste it 4 more times below, right? times below. And then here we need to change it to a get function, dot get, was what we are just going to get the products. Get all products. Get, and then we are just going to get the products by ID, right? Get product by ID, and then we also need a get function here. What we just need to do is here we need another post. We need a put function that we are going to use to update our product, right? Update product, and then we also need a delete. That's going to delete our product. Okay. And then module.exports this goes to router. We're going to set it to the router. Okay, it's going to set it to our router, right? Now we need to go to our server.js function. So let's go into our server.js function, and then we need to take care of this. Let's just copy this method here, the user route, copy it, and then let's change it to product route, and then we are just going to get it from routes / product route, like this. Okay, and then we are going to say app.use /API, and then we are going to pass in the product route. Okay, so now that we are done creating our API, the next thing that we need to do now is to test our endpoints using Postman, right? You can use whatever tool you use, but I normally like using Postman, right? Now we are connected to the database. Let's test our app. Let's test our API to see if it's working, right? So let's test the get method. So I think there is an error somewhere. Request post 4000. PA 4000 products. It's saying that the server is not found. Okay, so let's check what's the problem. So it's going to be API / product route. And then this is the product route, and then we need to get all products. And then I think everything is okay, but I don't know why. Let's check our env file. Yeah, our port is on 4000, so I don't know why. Get, and then post. So our poster here, I just have these few items. I have iPhone 16 Plus, Lorem Ipsum. These are descriptions that I already had. So somehow we are still getting an error. So let me check what's going on with the API. Okay, so I just located the error. The error was that I had just, inside our app.use middleware, I just put this API. I forgot to type in products, right? So this is our endpoint, right? So our endpoint, Postman couldn't locate our endpoint, right? So if I go back to our postman and then I get request, you see now 200. Okay, because now we get an empty array because we don't have anything. Okay, so let's try to create a post request. Let's see if, so it's saying false only .jpg is accepted. So I think the problem is that we have a problem with our middleware. So let's go to our product and then let's check our middleware, what's going on, acceptables. Okay, so here I made a mistake. It's supposed to be like this. Okay, so it's supposed to be like this. So I had made a typo. So let's go back to our postman and let's try to create a post request. We are still getting the same error. I don't know why we are still getting the same error. Okay, so let's try and see if it's working. Okay, products created successfully. So we have now created this product. So if I want to get the product, I can simply, now we get the product, right? Now we get the product. So how do we get this product? This product only by ID. So to get the product by ID, simply copy the product ID, right? And then just put here in front of, just put the product ID and let's see. So it's saying 404 not found. There must be an error with our API, I think. Because it's saying the product is not being found. 404 not found. Let's try to remove this parameter and then let's try to get it. Product ID. Yeah. So this is the product ID, right? Let me copy it, let me paste it in front of this, and then let's try, and then we're still getting a 404 code. So that means there must be a typo with our product controller, right? So if we go into our product controller, get product by ID, we get this one, find by ID, which is correct. But let's go to our route. We have this get product by ID. Okay, we were supposed to put in the ID there. And then also for the put function, we're supposed to put in the ID parameter, right? We forgot to add those. Make sure you add those, otherwise you keep on getting errors with postman, right? So cast object failed with path ID for module product. So somehow it's saying that cast of object ID failed, right, to get the product. So I don't know why. Let's check. Get product by ID, delete product. Okay, so let's try to leave it this one, and then let's try to update the product. So to update the product, you just have to put and then put this, and then we are also getting an error, right? We are also getting an error, which I don't understand why we are getting an error. Okay, so let's go to the product controller. So we have request constant ID is equals to request.params.id, and then we are going to use product.await product.find by ID, and then pass in the product, and then request constant ID is equals to request.params.id find by ID and update, which is correct. So now I don't know why we're getting this error, right? So let's check first to make sure that our ID is correct. So let's try to get it. Our ID might be wrong. So this is our product ID right here. This is our product ID. Copy, and then let's paste it here. Paste it here. You can see now we are getting this product, right? We're getting this product ID. If I say put, we just update our product. Now product updated successfully. If I want to delete it, I can just delete, and then we can get product deleted successfully. And then if I try to, we no longer have anything. So to just, let's just post it. So when I post this product, you can see, if we go back to our API, right, to our server, you can see these images there. They were uploaded in the uploads products. If you remember from our middleware, right, this is the destination that we set for our images to be uploaded. So uploads products, right, and then this one also, you can see those images, right? So thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. Make sure I stay tuned for the next video, whereby we'll be integrating Flutter to make sure that we'll pull our API and then create a CRUD application in Flutter. Thanks.